Hello, everyone. This is Heather back with you for another episode of Semi-Woo. Amanda is still down south. Today I have a little, like a little woo-woo crush on Vanessa Ainslie, and I've taken 2 of your classes, and they've been incredible. Thank you. And we met in kind of a funny way, didn't we?
Did we?
Not really. We were just connected before we ever met in person, which is funny. Your friend, your sister-in-law, is friends with my friends. It's one of those.
Yep.
Yeah, but I'm
connected in all the places.
In all the places. And I also have had my eye on the Healing Arts Collective, Capitol Hill Healing Arts Collective. Met William Endress in a funny little way. So kind of like tinkling around that world a little bit. It's been cool. And when I went to your classes in the Madrona house, it's one of those places you walk in and it's beautiful and it smells good and the air is good and the energy's awesome. And it's like a magazine without being prescribed. It's like, it was everything. And a really great group of people. How did you get into all this? Tell us your life story.
Well, thank you for saying all that. My life story is a long and winding one, but I started into the healing arts about 12 years ago. I went to my first massage therapy class.
Got it.
Decided I was going to be a massage therapist, not because I wanted to do the body work, but I make my own line of products. Like I make herbal oils and I make the tinctures, and I decided that I was going to open a spa one day and be able to have all my products as back bar and apply all of those things to people, like do scrubs and wraps and all the fancy bougie things.
Yep.
And I got about a quarter into the spa program and I was like, this actually isn't for me.
What about it was like a bit of a turn off?
Well, I took a job as a receptionist in a spa, so I could kind of get my foot in the door, feel how it's run, kind of get my feet wet
get some
bit.
experience.
Mm-hmm. And there was just so much drama, and everything was just for show, and it just wasn't real, and it felt chaotic and just yucky.
Yeah.
And so, when I started doing the massage work, I was like, I have a real chance to make a difference in people's lives.
Awesome.
I have an actual ability to make some real change for people. And so I did that. But I always did know that I would have my own place one day.
Yeah.
And so I've been, a few different places and doing a few different things. And I ended up in the Greenland building where the Capitol Hill Healing Arts Collective was founded, and the space across from me opened up, and I decided, okay, it's time.
Whoa.
I started out with just a couple subletters in my own room, and then I was like, okay, it's time to go big. And that space had 3 rooms, which my husband and I built all the walls.
Wow.
It was just all open space. So we put the 3 rooms and a little kitchenette. Like, we did all the plumbing and the lighting and everything.
Where did you summon this cojones? Because you're making it sound easy. Like, I did this, and then I'm in this building walls. Where did you find this grit and bravery to strike out on your own?
It's always been a very known quantity for me. Like, that's just the path.
Yep.
And it's always been very clear that that's where I'm supposed to go.
What a gift.
Sometimes my personality, I have a tendency to push into things really hard. And it's when I really just stop pushing and let what's supposed to happen, then it does. And then I know I'm on the right path because it just presents itself as an opportunity.
Right. In what ways were you finding that you were pushing this thing? Because I do that too. It's like I see the end game and I'm going down all these routes the way, it's usually like business cards and the logo and I think you said one of this in your class, you focus on these weird little things to try and get there and it doesn't happen and it's like, maybe I'm wrong.
Mm-hmm. I will say that I do notice that when I'm pushing for my own ego and it's from my own, like, well, I want to do this thing.
Yeah.
And instead, like, the world actually needs me to be this way. And it needs me to do something different. And so it's that subtle shift of what's my ego saying I want to do something versus what is the most useful in the world right now.
That's a huge intention.
It is. And so those things will just show up.
Sometimes it's scary. I mean, I'm just new in this path, and it's on the woo-woo side. I never would have thought I'd be over here, but the more I'm in it, the more I'm like, of course. You know, I'm given this sense of humor to be able to bring a voice of levity to this world, and I feel like it's needed, but it's scary, and it's almost more of like I'm being pushed from behind than chasing after something, feeling that's really encouraging and scary because you're out of your comfort zone a lot on this path.
Yeah, very much so. But there's that insatiable hunger to be there, though, that just keeps you right there no matter how hard it gets.
Mm-hmm. It is just, you have a knowing, which is such a tough thing to explain, but when you have it, you know it. It's one of those annoying things. You'll know when you feel it.
Yeah, it is hard to describe.
Yeah. Well, it's been going beautifully.
Thanks.
I think, tell me about where you're at now, or actually any like words of wisdom, cautionary tales for that beginning part where I think a lot of people I know are at right now.
That's a really good question, and I actually get asked that a lot. And really, there's no right answer to that. Right. It just depends on who you are and where you're at and what you're actually wanting to do. My one thing that I always tell people is to never devalue yourself. Right? Like, what you have to give and what you have to do is a gift and a blessing, and to always keep that in the forefront of your mind.
But that can be so hard in this world where it seems subjective. Like if I had an accounting thing and people were getting, I don't know these words, but 12% return, I think that's a thing. You could measure my ability to do a good job with math and science and cold hard cash. And in this world, or if you're an entrepreneur in another, you're making cupcakes, you're dancing, you're doing whatever, it's harder to know what our worth is without the measures that we kind of grew up with.
Yeah, that is something that I did come up against in this collective. The idea that, well, you have to be profitable and you have to be successful to be doing a good job, and I realized that I was in a unique opportunity to actually run a business the way I wanted to, with the ideals that I wanted to. That like, just because I'm not making money hand over fist, I'm actually doing something in the world that I want to be doing, and that it's okay for me to do that. Right. And so I've really come up against my own like familial and windings around like, well, you have to be successful and you have to make money and you have to drive this kind of car and all the things that you are supposed to have to be successful. Like, you need enough money to pay your bills, but
right.
But when you do value yourself first, and you do remember that what you are giving is of value, and you are in alignment with your own path, and you will start making money. Yeah. It's one thing I've noticed about when you're pushing and you're trying to gather all of your resources and push them into this direction you think you want to go or you're supposed to go. You just don't. You won't attract the people that you're actually looking for. When you're more sincere in what you have to offer, and you believe that what you have to offer is of value, those people that need your services will find you.
It's so true. And you don't know it until you do it. So there's that risk. But it gets to a point where if you don't do it, things start getting real like glitchy. It's like a word I would use.
How so?
Things fall away. Actually Amanda, she's a good example. Like, if we're somewhere we don't need to be, like a job, like she'll usually fight through it until she's fired, and I'll like quit right away because I'm so fed up with it. That's the glitchiness that I'm now working to avoid by being pretty intentional right up front about why I'm doing what I'm doing. I'm battling that now. I have the ability to work like 3 days a week. I could work more at the restaurant and make more money, and that would feel kind of good, paying bill time, shopping time, decorating my house time. But I really need this time to be creative and work on these things that really feed me on a huge level. And it's this constant going back and forth of like, which one of those is right? Like, I do have to pay my bills. I do need to be like responsible about money. I know that voice. I tease it a lot. It also has some good valid points. in the beginning, how do you do you just make that leap?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you do. You give yourself
Damn it.
no other option. You give yourself no other option. You have no
I know.
room for failure. You just don't. And when you truly believe that, you find a way.
It's so true.
It sounds so easy to say, and it's just, I'm sort of chagrined by even listening to myself. Well, if you just believe in yourself,
so
it'll
true,
happen.
But it's annoying, isn't it?
It is. And I don't really know how else to convey that message. There was a time in my practice where I was booking out 3 months at a time, and I was just seeing massage clients all the time, and I was working towards opening my practice up and doing more shamanic and energetic healing and more talk therapy work with people. And I was like, well, how are they going to show up if I don't make room for them? And so I trained another massage therapist, and I let go of half my client list.
Get it, girl.
I let go of half my client list, and that was emotionally hard because these people have been with me for a decade,
right?
And I know that I can still help them, but I know that other people need what I have to offer even more, and that's what I really want to do. And so I kept just enough clientele to pay my bills while I made the space in my schedule.
Yep.
And they've been trickling in, and it's just taking a while.
Yeah.
But so, keeping that restaurant job and keeping just the amount of hours that you need to just get by while you're building into.
And the space fills in. I mean, I use it, and I'm so grateful when I have it. And when I don't, I feel annoyed. I want to be doing my work. I want to be, I have to stop writing this blog, or I can't interview this person at this day, or, I can't go to this class. Yeah. I do need that space and that time.
It has to be a priority.
It's just so ingrained, what we've grown up with in this Western culture, U.S. We all talk about it, work hard and then die and grind, blah, blah, blah. It's so counter against that. It just feels irresponsible sometimes.
It's interesting that you choose that word because in the typical Western culture, it's irresponsible to shirk your duties and not make a bunch of money. Yeah. Right? But the more heart-centered folk of us feel that it is irresponsible to do that.
Right. Right.
Hooray, we've arrived.
Yeah, there we go. If I don't do this calling, that's irresponsible. And I am working my butt off. And at this point of my work, what I have to show for that is my lightness and my happiness and my centeredness and my groundedness and all this wealth of abundance of feel and people around me and inspiration that is I'm almost where do I even put all this? And that eventually, it'd be great if also in that abundance was a flow of money. And but that's not why I'm doing it. What a beautiful little cherry on the top, though. And that's kind of where I'm at with it right now. Yeah. And I feel an ease and flow to it that I don't think has been present in a few of the other things I've done, because I'm a total serial entrepreneur. But this one feels good. Yeah. And being at your collective, I think why my eye caught into it is because it's it's woo. It's super woo, which I love and appreciate about you in that space. But it's accessible. How did that... Is that a flavor that you would adopt? Do you think that? I don't know.
What do you mean by accessible?
It doesn't feel I don't want to roll my eyes when I go.
Gotcha. Feels a little more down home.
Yeah, and real.
Because it is.
Yeah. There you go. Well done.
Because it is. So when I took on that extra room on 15th and Capitol Hill, I was envisioning that I would just let go of my other room and take on the new space. And when I put it out into the world that I wanted to do this, people came out of the woodwork. Wow. And I realized there was a moment and I was like, oh my God, I have to keep that other room.
I need it back.
And that's just what happened. And then from there, I just, I felt like it just we needed more. We were all of us had, for whatever reason, I attract to me practitioners who are just starting. Awesome. And that space, I just watched so many practitioners bloom and grow and succeed. Wow. In the format that I set up in that space was that it's a collective, a collaborative, experience for just the practitioners also, not just the clients.
Yeah.
So that the practitioners also feel safe and supported and held in a community.
Yeah.
And so, it's that foundation that I think all the rest grew from.
Mm-hmm.
And then needing the second space because I started doing more classes.
Woo.
And I started,
It grew.
And it just sort of unfolded naturally that way. I never thought I'd have 2 centers, but it's like, well, this is what's needed right now.
And that's the beautiful thing. You think you can see ahead and I will have this center. This is what it'll look like. Lo and behold, you walk the journey step by step and it's even bigger than you could imagine. And that's most dreams. Mm-hmm. And that can inspire and that can leave me cold with total fear about having to be there now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's scary. It's like you see what you could do and could be.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh my God, it makes me want to run the other way. Like, I can't do all that right now.
You don't have to do it all right now. This has taken me 10 years to build.
Yeah.
10 years. You don't have to do it all now. It just sort of unfolds how it should.
Right. And again, doing the little stupid steps and the logo and the thing. That's the fun. It's so fun. But focusing on that and grinding that and trying to do that first is a way for me to avoid like running the corporation tomorrow,
Right. So is it more of a distraction tactic for you?
Yeah. And we all have our ways of like knowing when we're like off center, ungrounded, and mine is overwhelm. Like I will just pick a few things and whip myself up into being totally overwhelmed and I need a break on self-care day. I even use the woo things that I love against myself sometimes. Like, bitch, you don't need a self-care day. You just had like 8 hours to yourself. And it's there's this quote. God, I always want to quote things and know them right away. I have a friend that can do that. She can say poems and know the poet and the whole thing. But he's basically saying what you said. Like, he's just done it over time, and it's a numbers game, and you keep trying, and you work at it, and he's a writer, put out content, and some of it totally sucks, but soon it gets better, and you have this honed body of work, and you just do the little steps, and you get it wrong, and you be okay with getting it wrong, and you get it right, and you accept that you did it right, and that it's going well, and revel in that, and those two have been my path lately.
Yeah.
It's like being okay with screwing it up or feeling inadequate, and then owning the successes.
That's the interesting thing about doing healing work. It forces us to do our own work through the journey of being.
It's the whole thing, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It definitely forces us to face those things and look at those things, and our own healings unfold from that. Yeah. Which then makes us uniquely qualified to do the work.
Right. But then, in a healing setting, I always thought, well, you have to be healed. And I'm sure this is you have to be healed to heal. As if that's a destination, a point that we'll all get to, that these lessons don't unfold the whole dang time over the span of generations. And that is daunting. Mm-hmm. Have you come up against that? Like, you have to be this perfect. I think that's what kept me away, this idea of this perfect healer that had no, ate perfectly and wore gowns.
I'm reminded of what you just said earlier about how I was able to keep my space accessible. Yeah. Because it's not, when we project that identity or that image of being perfect, it makes us want to roll our eyes. Like, who are you? Like, how did you get so perfect? Right. And remaining that real and authentic and sort of raw aspect allows us to actually be in the work instead of like standing on a pedestal teaching it down to someone. You don't have to be perfect. There is no perfect. Right. You don't. There's no a moment that we arrive at healed or whole. And I hold very strongly the idea that we are all whole and that there is nothing wrong with us. Right? Like there is nothing wrong with you. You are completely whole and healed as you sit before me.
Big time. And it's only the work I've done over the last few years that I can sit in that space and completely agree with you and know what you mean and feel totally worthy to do this work and share the space with other people doing this work in different ways. But that is to be cultivated.
It is. It's a very short statement of a lifetime's worth of work.
Yeah.
Is that realizing that, that we are just human beings having a human process around life. Like there's no fault in that.
Right.
No matter where we are or how we show up this day or that day, or I'm just having a really bad day today and I have to give this healing session. Cool. Like, let me just be with that.
Yeah.
How am I really, like, what's that about? Cool. Okay. Like, I'm just gonna sit with that and like hold a space for it, put it outside of my bubble, and then hold space for someone else.
I love that. I remember you talking about this bubble, because that's another thing in the woo world where there's all these like little stages I kind of remember going through that I'll repeat sometimes and go back around. But one of them was feeling so good and, woken up and bright and shiny that if I met somebody that wasn't at that level, it's like, oh, they can rip this away. They can suck this away. Like I can't be around them, and almost shuddering myself in this love bubble when my reason that I came here is to be an example of what it looks like to love yourself. I really want to vibrate that. And I was shutting down my main thing. I feel like I want to communicate to people. And you brought up the bubble. Like, can you explain a little bit of that?
I think.
I'm like,
what was it I said? Sometimes, I open my mouth in a class and something that I was not planning on saying comes out through me.
I think it was this, we feel like we need to push maybe people away, or if they're not feeling good, they can rub off on us or something like that, or that it could drop our energy lower. This kind of fear of being knocked off the pedestal of happiness all the time, as if healed and happy is a place that you have to keep constantly and, not fall off the ledge, and not something that it's wherever you're at. There's a pedestal for every place that you're in.
Yeah. Well, nobody can really has the power to take that away from you. Nobody has that power.
It can so feel that way. It's easier. It'd be easier if that was true. It feels like
we actually give people that power to do that to us.
Wow.
By not by letting those little voices that say you're not good enough, or you don't deserve this, or you should or you shouldn't, right? That judgment voice that says all those things. And when we listen to that, we give other people power to take away that pedestal of happiness.
That's another little clever workaround of not moving forward toward who I want to be, is like giving away power. And once you know that you're doing that, you can't unknow that. So I lost that excuse.
Yeah, that is a hard one.
Yeah. The little voices that come up, in practicing meditation and being aware of the thoughts in my head and starting to label and name some of those voices and know who they are. And, you got Ramon and you got Lucy. It's like a whole cast of characters and they're telling me what I should do.
Yeah.
And that's been a fun way to be with a lot of the doubt and, frankly, some real dickish voices in there.
Yeah.
That would stop one from doing really what their heart wanted to. Yeah. Which hones and changes. I think that's another thing. Like, I feel like I have to pick a dream and stick with it instead of letting a dream morph and unfold, which, like, the more I let that happen, the more I'm like, I can do all these mixed into one. It's starting to get really interesting.
I have that.
I
I do so many things. I'm like, how do I weave these all into one thing? But I don't. I just like have a really big toolbox that I carry with me.
It was so inspiring. You were like introducing yourself. You're like, I'm an energy healer, body worker. And I'm like, yes, cool. Oh my God.
And then, and this.
20 minutes later, like, I forgot I played tambourine in a band.
Actually, no.
I love that. And then, Suzanne's here last week talking about the Apothecary.
That's hilarious.
And I'm like, there's another beautiful expression of what you can do and the ways that you can heal and feel good and have these tools to live a heart-led life, which energy healing is a huge part of it.
Mm-hmm.
Why would somebody come to the collective? Like, what are some symptoms y'all are seeing?
Oh, wow. Well, just to let everybody know, we have 17 practitioners.
Wow.
And we do everything from chiropractic to psychotherapy, medication management.
Wow.
We have acupuncture, we have a naturopath, we have some yoga teachers, we have several massage therapists, energy workers, coaches, hypnotherapists.
Amazing.
And a tambourine player.
Yeah.
Like it's just all the things.
I love it.
And starting next month, we'll have the Apothecary actually
Yeah.
open. So we've got some herbalists. And
Yeah.
so
And that's November 8th.
November 8th.
I have that ground in my head. I want to go to that.
It's going to be amazing. There's going to be lots of free goodies.
Yeah.
We're going to do a couple free sound baths and little goodie bags and
Yeah.
all kinds of fun stuff.
A little woo fest.
Yes. It's going to be a little woo party.
I love that it's all in one place because
Well, it's in two.
Well, right, well, two, yeah, get it. I love that it's in two places, but so many things under one roof. Where I think a lot of people feel something's wrong. They know pills is not where they want to walk down that path, which is an option. They have tried a lot of things and are feeling drawn towards some sort of energetic work,
Mm-hmm.
be that what it may. And maybe they don't even know the word energy at this point.
Mm-hmm.
What's like the toe dip treatment, or like how do you just get in there? I mean, the classes for me was a thing, but you know, I can geek out on this stuff all day. Like, what would be a
Energy
good
light.
first? Energy light. right, totally.
Energy light. So the way that I work with people in my own practice is I do shamanic healing and energetic work. And it's funny because when my very first day of massage school, that woo-woo stuff is not for me. I do not believe in it, and it makes me mad, and I don't want anything to do with it, which was an indicator that, that's something that
Isn't
I
that
needed.
weird?
Yeah.
You're like, ew, I would never do that. I would. You can't
No.
see with that.
No.
That was me in yoga. I'm like, I mean, it's all about the pants. So I'd do it if it wasn't all about the clothes.
And the further I got into my massage practice, the more I was like, I'm doing energy healing with people.
Yeah.
And I don't even know how to talk about it. I don't know how to frame it, but people are saying that I'm doing soul work with them and they feel that in the body work. And so when a person comes to see me, I do mostly trauma-based body work.
Mm-hmm.
And so when somebody shows up on my table, it's usually because they know that they're working through something. And a lot of times I'll just hold space for that and do body work.
Yeah.
And just like make it feel good and make it feel nice. And also do that deeper soul work on a subtle level so that they understand it on a visceral level.
Got it.
For that first session.
Yeah.
And so there's a rapport and there's trust. And there's also like the yummy feel good.
Of just getting a massage,
Yeah.
right?
It's
Which feels so
it's
great.
so hard when you have somebody prying open your layers and looking at you and telling you things that A, you either already know, and B, you don't want to know,
Right,
and
right.
you're trying to avoid.
Yeah.
And so I really feel strongly that you have to have both of
Mhm.
the feel good and the reaffirming and the reestablishing of it's actually safe to be in your body, and your
Yeah.
body's a good place to be.
Yep.
And that's the foundation where I start
I love that.
with the energy work.
Because a lot does come up for me now in massage. And it's nice that if I go through a patch of self-realization, that's not the easiest thing to swallow, or something like, yeah, I see that. Yeah. That on the other side of that is a massage is happening and it feels great. And you get this nice balance of like, ooh, this is rough, but damn, does this feel good? And I am in a safe space.
Mm-hmm.
Is that like an energetic massage would be the name of that?
Sure.
I don't know.
I've been trying for years to come up with a name for that, so I don't really know.
Yeah. And that's another thing is the wording of all this healing it can be an obstacle too.
Yeah.
There's the word shamanic, and maybe you can talk about that a little bit. I feel like that's the sticky, itchy point for a lot of
Sure
people is
is.
throwing that word. You think of the sky with feathers and indigenous in the rainforest. Like, how are we using it now in our city and this culture?
Yeah, it's great that you asked that. I was actually going to,
Yeah.
to say
page
something
right here.
about it. Yeah. So I feel like it's the newest trend
Mhm.
in the healing arts world, and I feel like it is culturally appropriated for sure. The way I understand shamanic work is that you're accessing the spirit world on behalf of your client or your person that you're working with, and that's what I do.
Wow.
In my work. I work with my guides and my spirits to unfold these things in people and let spirit do its work.
Wow.
While I kind of take a step back and I'm just the facilitator of that space. And that's how I understand what shamanic healing is. And so I don't really know what else to call it. I am taking Ilva Radzewski's healing craft practitioner training at the Cunning Crow.
Yeah.
She is amazing.
Awesome.
And she teaches it through the lens of witchcraft.
Yeah.
Because she feels so strongly that that shamanic, the word shamanic healing or to be a shaman is appropriated. And I agree. And I'm having a hard time calling myself a witch.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
I can't just be like, yeah, I'm a witch. Like, you should come to me for healing. And I love that's becoming such a more mainstream thing, and I also hate it.
Yeah. Ooh. Sitting there too. I know.
Like I love that
honestly,
there's a reclaiming of the divine feminine, and there's a reclaiming of that power, and to I was thinking about this in the shower, actually. That to be a witch is what comes after we've started doing the work on our own selves, and we've started putting the boundaries, and we've started speaking our truths, and we've started owning our own power.
Yeah.
Being a witch is what comes after that.
Yeah.
Because once you are able to harness those things and hold space for yourself with those things, you're able to hold space for others.
Yeah.
In that way. And you're also accountable to the earth, and you're accountable to, the mountains and the streams and the spirits of this world and beyond.
Yeah.
And you can hold that in a space. So, to say, I will never say that I'm a shaman.
Right.
Right? I have mixed feelings about saying that I do shamanic healing.
Yeah.
But again, I don't feel comfortable pronouncing to the world that I'm a witch.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm with you, but when you see the definition of the word and you feel the feeling when you're with somebody and working with them, I love that on behalf. You know that it's that, but you can't use the word, or if you use the word, it's like people bristle at that and it stops them from getting this healing that they need. Just like me and the yoga and the pants, if they said it wrong, or if somebody, if I saw a teacher eating a burger, well, you're not a yoga instructor, you use whatever you can to screech and halt the things that you need a lot of times.
Right.
But I mean, it's shamanic work. It was cool because I had the opportunity to ask shamans about this, that call themselves shamans at work in South America, and they just roll their eyes over the whole thing.
Yeah, it's a trend.
But roll their eyes, don't let that stop your work. And what you said, how you explained it, is how they explain shamanic work. That it is very much holding space and creating a safe space for someone to have these experiences and know the process that's happening and treat it with respect and call in ancestors and live in that world for that ceremony, that time, that treatment. It absolutely is. And I was like, thanks, guys.
That's interesting. I like hearing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're like, just do the work that you know you're supposed to do. And we were telling them, in the Western world, we need words. We need words.
Can you say it again?
Say
what you just said again.
Oh, crap. I didn't listen to myself.
Just do the work you're supposed to do.
There you go. Just do the work you're supposed to do.
So good.
And you find along the way different ways to explain it, but you know what you're doing, and the people that are attracted to the work that you're doing know what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really that sense of like, I can't care anymore what people think about what I do when I know it feels so right and good and helpful, and my, ancestors are cheering me on. I'm feeling good.
Yeah.
I can't care anymore.
And that's how you make it profitable.
Right. Right.
Not because you're searching for money through that avenue, but you're searching that avenue and money will find you.
Yeah. Where I don't even have to worry about, like, I'm good. I can't do anything else at this point.
Mm-hmm.
I can't dream of it. And that's, what a blessing.
Indeed.
It's big. This is big work that you're doing and that you're collecting around you.
Thank you.
Thank you for being in our city and expressing it in that way. You've hit that. You've some, it had to come to time where being okay with energy work and all this woo-woo stuff would just we'd be able to roll our eyes but still continue down this path, bring people and explain it without being like, feeling weird about it being weird, or have brothers and sisters in this world that are crazy weird and be like that, and still show them love and be like, maybe that's not for me. Here's what I like. This fits. Be able to be in this world and kind of find our own individual paths. It's been fun.
Mm-hmm.
It's cool. And I invite, anyone along that even has an inkling or super effing hates it so much because maybe you probably need to join us too, I have a friend that she's a new mom and she's doing an amazing job. She's got this great kid. He's 8 months and he's just interested in everything. He's the most interesting baby to watch. And she goes on Instagram and there's all this Pachamama movement. And we're from the West Coast in California, so we'll appropriate anything. And and express it with the beautiful bosoms with the baby and the naked, all the feathers and it's. You could roll your eyes. You could get real testy about it.
I think it sounds amazing.
Yeah, and she's focusing on this and just kind of being a little haterade on it. I'm like, but you're focusing on it. There's something about it that attracts you. You cook your baby food and put it in little glass jars. There's ways that you express in this way that you're seeing, and I'm like, if you're gonna focus on it, you might as well get to know it. It's like maybe go get some little headdress or something. Go wear around in your room with the baby. I don't know. When you're looking at something a lot, that maybe get curious. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of curious people are gonna come through your doors and have. You've made it. I like that you do a lot of different things, and especially like your classes. I love the classes.
Thanks.
I could see, when I started meditation, they had tons of different types of meditations at Mindful, and it was like going to university. And that's how I feel about your classes. Like, I can learn about it. I can get in that way in a setting that's very familiar to me, class. I'm taking notes the whole time. I love it. I missed it.
We all know how to class.
Love it. We all know how to class. Class is cool. And that's a great way to get in there. I don't, maybe if I'm not comfortable with someone touching me, or if I don't know what a sound bath is. Do I bring a bathing suit? I don't know. Or I can go to class. Some people don't know. They're like, what the hell is a sound bath?
I have never heard that.
Isn't it nuts? We're still there in this world.
Bathing suit. I'm going to put that on my next flyer. No bathing suit required.
Right? Some people might be like, oh, great. I can go after work.
Yeah.
And then I want to have a sound bath at a spa that is a bath, and there's sound there because you have to. The name lends itself. There has to be one of those too.
That I've actually seen. There's a YouTube video out there of a guy floating his bowls in the water and playing them.
Get it?
I could only imagine what it must be like to be underwater.
Oh
and hearing
my
that.
Gosh! And be in water with a conductor of that sound. There you go.
I'm gonna do it someday.
Sound bath. Invite me,
Literal
please.
sound
Literal.
bath.
I would love it. It makes sense. The ancients are like, yes, this is what it's supposed to be. Somewhere it got changed and there's no more bathing suits. I loved having you here. I was so excited. The first class I took yours was Intro to Chakras.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Which I feel really drawn to. It helps me. Knowing about my chakras has helped me process a lot.
That's wonderful.
Yeah. Thank you.
They have always been a very pulling thing for me. I've just always been super interested in them. I just heard the word for the very first time when I was, maybe 13. I was like, what are those? I need to know everything about them.
That's so young. Did you have any religion raised growing up or anything?
Why
were you not blocked from this knowledge?
I grew up in a Christian, Republican white picket fence.
And it still got in there?
There's just no denying.
Yeah.
It's just who I am.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
Same. Republican, Christian.
Mm-hmm.
There was I was raised with a very lovely brand of Christianity that was accepting and nice and, helpful.
I was not. It
Okay,
was very traumatizing to me.
Wow. I'm still working on that. Yeah, I got lucky on that front, but I remember in the 90s it was like yin yang, absolutely not. Eastern religion, Buddha, get out. Yoga, evil. Come on.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. Working my way back through this, and then in the 90s, self-help was weird, and it was like, grow your wings and fly, and there was a lot of cheese to the world.
Well, look how far we've come with it.
I know. It's even showing up on Instagrams and Coachella.
I'm rolling my eyes now.
Once people become aware of things, of course, there will always be a faction of people that will take it their own way and commercialize it and water it down. Of course, everything has that. That's what friends that are like, oh, it's so watered down. It's spirituality. I'm like, everything has that side. Yeah. Why not this? It's ripe with hilarity and ways you could commercialize it for sure. Mm-hmm. But there's some really amazing things happening.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming on the show and being so lovely and holding such great space. It's juicy in here right now.
It really is. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Yeah.
I've really enjoyed it.
We will have your website and the party up on our website and promote that so people can come and find you in your classes and all these practitioners doing amazing things. And maybe you do like a little toe dip day or something for people, like, here's what this is or here's what this is. And definitely let us know about the literal sound path, which you might have to call it literal sound.
I think I will.
Yay, thanks again.
Thank you.
Yeah, we will be back next week with some more goodness and hopefully some amazing stories from Amanda in either Mexico or Jamaica, wherever she is, when the next show airs. So thank you. Goodbye.
Bye.